Welcome to VinSud YouTube podcast. Today we going to listen to May 6th daily current affairs. Starting with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare releases National Family Health Survey 5 report. The main objective of successive rounds of the NFHS has been to provide reliable and comparable data relating to health and family welfare and other emerging areas in India. NFHS is a large-scale, multi-round survey conducted in a representative sample of households throughout India. Information provided on indicators are helpful in tracking the progress of sustainable development goals in the country. Scope of NFHS 5 is expanded by adding new dimensions such as death registration, preschool education, expanded domains of child immunization, menstrual hygiene, etc. Key findings of the survey. Indicator: total fertility rates. TFR of about 2.1 children per woman is called the replacement level of fertility, a crucial factor in population growth. 2.0 and 2.2. Contraceptive prevalence rate 67% and 54%. Antenatal care visits by pregnant women in their first trimester 70% and 59%. Unmet needs of family planning 9% and 13%. Full immunization in kids aged 12–23 months 76% and 62%. Sex ratio of the total population. This is the first time in any NFHS or census that the sex ratio is skewed in favor of women. 1,020 in 991. Neonatal mortality rate. Number of deaths among all live births during the first 28 days of life expressed per 1,000 live births. 24.9 and 29.5. Infant mortality rate. Infant mortality is death of an infant before his or her first birthday, and IMR is number of infant deaths for every 1,000 live births. 35.2 and 40.7. Under 5 mortality rate. Probability of a child born in a specific year or period dying before reaching the age of 5. Women aged 20–24 years married before age 18 years 23.3% and 26.8%. Institutional births 89% and 79%. Children under 5 years who are stunted 36% and 38%. Children under 5 years who are wasted 19% and 21%. Children under 5 years who are underweight 32.1% and 35.8%. Global banking body lauds India's digital public infrastructure. The Bank for International Settlements has endorsed India's Data Empowerment Protection Architecture. DIPA is a joint public-private effort for an improved data governance approach. It creates a digital framework that allows users to share their data on their own terms through a third-party entity, consent managers. DIPA's first application has been in the financial sector for greater inclusion in economic growth. It is being tested in the health sector as well as others. DIPA forms the final layer of India Stack, a set of APIs that allows governments, business, startups, and developers to utilize a unique digital infrastructure aimed at presence-less, paperless, and cashless service delivery. Significance of DIPA: empowers people to seamlessly and securely access their data and share it with third-party institutions. It includes private consent manager institutions that ensure that individuals can provide consent for data shared securely. Protect data rights. Enables small businesses to access affordable loans, insurance, and better financial management products easily. Reduction in transaction cost and increased competition. About BIS. Established in 1930, the BIS is owned by 63 central banks. Its head office is in Basel, Switzerland. This mission is to support central banks' pursuit of monetary and financial stability through international cooperation, and to act as a bank for central banks. Moving on to the next topic. India has no plans to join the World Trade Organization Government Procurement Agreement. The GPA allows WTO members to mutually open up their markets for selling goods and services to governments, often including regional and local governments. The agreement on government procurement consists of 21 parties. GPA is a plurilateral agreement, which means it includes some but not all WTO members. Government agencies often need to purchase goods and services with public resources and for public purposes. Such purchases are generally referred to as GP. Government procurement accounts for 10–15% of the GDP of an economy on average and constitutes a significant market and an important aspect of international trade. Earlier, India never took up GPA for bilateral or multilateral trade agreements in order to protect domestic firms. However, recently, India has stated that it is open to negotiating government procurement as part of bilateral deals and recently included government procurement in a free trade pact with UAE for the first time. Under India-UAE agreement also, government procurement is only limited to a few central ministries and excludes key sectors such as construction, infrastructure projects, and healthcare. Accession to the GPA 2012 provides important benefits. Potential trade gains based on legally assured access to the covered foreign procurement markets, keeping markets open in times of crisis where the temptation for protectionism rises. Improved public, supplier, and investor confidence in the government procurement system, potentially stimulating inbound foreign direct investment. Enhanced competition for contracts, leading to improved value for money outcomes. Moving on to the next topic. Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports invites suggestions on draft national youth policy. Government has reviewed the existing draft NYP 2014 and prepared a new draft NYP that envisages a 10-year vision for youth development that India seeks to achieve by 2030. It is aligned with sustainable development goals, and special efforts are prescribed to ensure social justice for marginalized and vulnerable youths. Draft NYP seeks to catalyze widespread action on youth development across 5 priority areas. Refer infographic. This national-level framework will be adopted by states that will formulate their youth policies to serve the development needs of the region. Significance of the draft NYP. With nearly 1 out of every 4 persons between the ages of 15 and 29, young people constitute a potential demographic dividend or a challenge if not properly addressed. A well-nurtured and equipped youth cohort will lead to larger productive work participation and consequent growth in the GDP. Will address barriers to youth development and prepare them for a world that is changing in significant ways. Climate change challenges, changing nature of jobs, etc. Moving on to the next topic. Jammu and Kashmir delimitation exercise concludes as panel signs final order. The Delimitation Commission was set up on March 6, 2020 to redraw the boundaries of assembly and parliamentary constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir. The panel, formed by the Centre in March 2020, is headed by former Supreme Court Judge Ranjana Prakash Desai. The Commission has proposed increasing the number of seats in the UT from 83 to 90. Besides, there are 24 seats in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir that continue to remain vacant. Delimitation is the act of redrawing boundaries of Lok Sabha and Assembly seats to represent changes in population. Objective is to provide equal representation for equal population segments and fair division of geographical areas, so that no political party has an advantage. Under Article 82, Parliament enacts a Delimitation Act after every census which establishes a DC. In India, such DCs have been constituted in 1952, 1963, 1973, and 2002. In 2002, 84th Constitutional Amendment was used to freeze the process of delimitation for Lok Sabha and state assemblies till at least 2026. Under Article 170, states also get divided into territorial constituencies as per Delimitation Act after every census. Delimitation Commission is appointed by President of India and works in collaboration with Election Commission of India. Its orders have the force of law and cannot be called in question before any court. Moving on to the next topic. Virtual private network providers in India mandated to collect customer data. Recently, Indian Computer Emergency Response Team issued new directives that require VPN providers to store user data for 5 years. CERT-IN is the national nodal agency for responding to computer security incidents as and when they occur. Mandate applies to virtual private server providers, VPN service providers, cloud service providers, data centers, and is aimed at maintaining accurate information on customer registrations details. A VPN is an encrypted connection over the internet from a device to a network that help users hide their browsing history, internet protocol address, and geographical location, as well as their web activity and the devices being used. An IP address is a unique address that identifies a device on the internet or a local network. Implication of CERT-IN move. Companies will be forced to switch to storage servers that will mean higher costs for the company. For the end user, this translates to lesser privacy, and perhaps as it would be possible to track browsing and download history. Moving on to the next topic. Aadhaar biometrics for forensics. Unique Identification Authority of India states that the biometric data collected for Aadhaar cannot be used to identify criminals or solve crimes, as it does not collect biometric information for forensic purposes. Furthermore, sharing or use of biometric information for any purpose other than the generation of the Aadhaar number and authentication is impermissible under the Aadhaar Act, 2016. Moving on to the next topic. India-France joint statement was released during PM visit to France. Key highlights. Both agreed on setting up a bilateral strategic dialogue on space issue agreed to join forces in promoting cyber norms and principles in order to counter cyber threats, reaffirmed their commitment for advancing peace, stability, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region, agreed to explore opportunities to jointly work on just energy transition pathways. France also reiterated its support for India's bid for permanent membership of UNSC as well as membership in Nuclear Suppliers Group. Moving on to the next topic, Coastal Zone Management Plan. National Green Tribunal scraps environmental clearance for Polymer Industrial Park at Ennore. As per 1996 CZMP, project site is marked as a salt pan and tidally influenced water body. CZMP 2011 was prepared by National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management, Chennai, approved by Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Objective to secure livelihood of fishing communities living in coastal areas, conserve and protect coastal stretches, and promote development in sustainable manner. Respective state governments and union territories were directed to prepare CZMP by identifying and classifying the coastal regulation zone areas. Moving on to the next topic, National Film Heritage Mission. Government earmarks 363 rupees crore for film restoration project under National Film Heritage Mission. About NGHM. It was launched in 2016 by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Its aim is to preserve, restore and digitize Indian cinematic heritage. National Film Archive of India is the nodal organization for the implementation of this project. The mission is in pursuance of Digital India Initiative. Moving on to the next topic, System for Pension Administration. SPARSH by Ministry of Defense is implemented for meeting the pension sanction and disbursement requirements for armed forces viz. Army, Navy, Air Force and Defense civilians. This web-based system processes pension claims and credits pension directly into bank accounts of defense pensioners without relying on any external intermediary. In related news, role of BHAVISHYA software in easing pension process was also highlighted by Department of Pension and Pensioners Welfare. BHAVISHYA is launched to ensure payment of all retirement dues and delivery of pension payment ordered to retiring employees on the day of retirement itself. It allows online tracking of pension sanction and payment process. Moving on to the next topic, World Food Prize. NASA climate scientist wins World Food Prize for her innovative modeling of the impact of climate change on food production. The award was created by Nobel Peace Prize laureate Norman Borlaug in 1986 to recognize scientists and others who have improved the quality and availability of food. It is awarded by World Food Prize Foundation and it is considered to be Nobel Prize in Agriculture. It is intended to be awarded to one person. However, in collaboration it can award to multiple persons. Moving on to the next topic, Places in News. West Bank. Israel court paves way for eviction of 1,000 Palestinians from West Bank area. Location. It is located on the west bank of the Jordan River and is bounded by Israel on the north, west and south. On the east lies Jordan country. Presently there are approx. 132 Israeli settlements and 124 unauthorized settlements, along with military outposts. Geographical features. It is mostly composed of north-south oriented limestone hills. The hills descend eastwardly to the low-lying Great Rift Valley of the Jordan River and the Dead Sea. Its elevated areas in the west give rise to the headwaters of streams flowing westward to the Mediterranean Sea.